Hello everyone, it's me Bobby, and today, new kind of content for you. So, I'm going to be doing a creepypasta narration. So now you might be wondering, Bobby, what is that? Well, it's simple. You may know creepypastas, they're like horror stories type things, it can be about video games or like lost episodes of TV shows. And basically, I'm going to be reading one in this video, and after that, I'm going to give it a little review and a scaling 1 to 10. So yeah, sorry if this video is not really the best, this is kind of going to be, one of my first time doing something like this, so yeah, if you like this kind of content, then let me know, and I will do more. So anyways, the creepypasta I'm going to be reading today is SpongeBob SquarePants, Plankton Got Served. So yeah, if you like this video, like, subscribe, turn on notifications to the next video, and sit back and relax as I read to you SpongeBob SquarePants, Plankton Got Served. And also a few more things. These stories contain like disturbing things, mentioning things of like blood, gore, death, and suicide, and there will also be music in the background, like set in with the mood, and also I'll be leaving the story link in the description. So without further ado, let's actually read this, shall we? I am sure many have heard of lost episode creepypastas. They're usually involved in an incredibly graphic episode that conveys such fear to children that it never aired, though someone managed to sneak a viewing or owned one of the tapes. The most popular example of this is Squidward's Suicide, in which Squidward commits suicide, hence the title. Of course, all of the creepypastas are false. Yeah, I remember a SpongeBob episode that was heavily altered, but still remains in circulation today. This is one course meal from season 7. In the episode, Mr. Krabs finds out that Plankton is horrified of whales, and uses it to his advantage. This is one of the least popular episodes of the show due to its dark nature, even after being heavily altered. Now, how would I have seen this episode before it was edited? It's simple, really. This is one of the 7 SpongeBob episodes that was revealed on the internet before it aired on TV. Always a big fan of the show, I was excited at the idea of having a SpongeBob episode premiere on the internet before television. I rapidly reloaded the Nickelodeon page and finally it came up. It was known as Plankton Got Served, though it was eventually changed. Most of the episode is identical to the one that is circulated today. Plankton manages to break into the Krusty Krab and ties up Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob. As he is about to finally get the secret formula from SpongeBob, Mr. Krabs' daughter Pearl walks in. This terrifies Plankton and causes him to run out. Plankton later claims that his ancestors were eaten by whales, and that is why he fears them so. Mr. Krabs realizes this fear that Plankton has and decides to use it against him. He dresses up as his daughter and begins to follow Plankton around, frightening him. Plankton decides he can no longer take it and decides to make the ultimate decision. Plankton decides to commit suicide. Yes, this is still in the show today. You are free to watch it. Plankton waits for the bus as he lies in the street, waiting to get ran over. This is when SpongeBob comes over to try and convince him to continue his existence, and where the alteration in the two versions begins. Plankton fails to heed SpongeBob's words and remains there. In the altered version that was shown, SpongeBob tells Plankton that it was Mr. Krabs as Pearl the entire time, and he gets up. In another altered version, SpongeBob says the same things, but Plankton refuses to believe him. SpongeBob decides that the only thing he can do to show him the truth is to drag Mr. Krabs outside. Soon after he leaves, the typical red bus comes speeding along. Plankton sits up and watches it hit him as everything fades to black. Plankton finds himself standing on a single platform overlooking darkness. In it, he sees whales, all looking up at him. There are members of his family he can faintly make out, calling for him to jump down. Plankton looks above and sees a light he can scarcely believe. This would seem to represent heaven and hell. Plankton, resigned to his fate, jumps and plunges down into the darkness. This is when the episode ends, and the traditional credits for the show are shown, parallel to Plankton's descent into darkness. Now, some of you may say you saw the show as soon as it was available online. Apparently not fast enough. After seeing the episode, I reloaded the page to find the altered version shown on the website. I kept reloading, curious of how I had seen the first version. The only answer I can imagine for my viewing of the original episode was that the creator uploaded the wrong file, and moments after uploading it, recognized as such. I may be the only one who saw this version. I truly do not know the sick ambitions the creators of SpongeBob had in mind with this episode. Why would a kid show portray death? Why would a kid show portray heaven and hell? Nonetheless, the unaltered version is impossible to find. I searched as hard as I can and have failed to discover anything legitimate about the episode I'd seen. People have told me that I'd only seen the unaltered version, and that they too were surprised at the Dark Queen's portrayed in the episode. Still, I know what I saw. I know people will fail to believe me. People will accuse me of trying to scare people. People will say I have no evidence. There are no photos, there is no video evidence of this occurrence. I only saw it once, and it never occurred to me to do such a thing. But I know the truth, and I want other people to know too. Maybe someone out there saw this episode as well and can confirm it. Until then, I hope you enjoyed reading about my experience. Well, that was SpongeBob SquarePants' Plankton Got Served. What did I think of this story? I honestly found it to be a pretty good creepypasta, you know? I believe this creepypasta is, one of the more popular ones because there is Squidward Suicide, which narration potentially come out in the future, and, a bunch of other lost episode stories, like, for example, The Amazing World of Gumball, The Grieving, and, a bunch of other ones, like, I believe Rugrats Chucky's Mom is one of them, which, again, narration for those stories essentially coming soon. But, yeah, I believe this is a somewhat more popular creepypasta, I believe some retakes on the internet. So, yeah. And let's get into the actual review, shall we? So, first of all, the way I find the episode, like, basically, the protagonist, like, going on to, Nickelodeon's website. Most indie stories, like, an episode airing on TV, like a DVD or VHS tape, or for crying out loud, being an intern, which, after Squidward Suicide, has basically just become, a staple of creepypasta culture, like lost episodes and stuff, or that typical downloading a file on the internet. Well, I guess that technically kind of was the story, but, like, not really. So, yeah, overall, I do believe, like, not overall, I still have a bit more to review. This creepypasta, again, was pretty good and quite creative. And again, this creepypasta was like, no, not really, and again, but what am I talking about? Creepypasta was more like an alternate episode of, like, the episode of SpongeBob One Course Meal. So now, I believe that is a pre-hated episode. I have watched it, but it's been like 3 years since I've last watched it. I don't really remember much. I don't remember if I liked it or not, so. But, like, a lot of people believe that it's a very mean-spirited version, so. And, like, the fact that this episode, like, well, again, is creepypasta, like, created, like, really makes you think, like, again, like, what were the intentions of, like, the creators, Now, something that I feel I should mention is that a lot of people believe that you shouldn't really mention the word creepypasta in your creepypasta because, for example, this story starts off with, the whole, oh, have you ever heard of lost episode creepypastas? Now, a lot of people don't really like that, but honestly, I don't really mind it because I really just, don't really see much of the problem of it. Like, other people, apparently, like, it takes away from realism, but if anything, I believe it makes it more real because, just think about it, like, have you ever heard of these creepypasta stories? Most of them are fake, but I encountered, like, a real one, like, I believe that, now, in, like, every creepypasta story, oh, have you ever heard of lost episode of creepypastas? Now, I just don't really think it should be done, like, every story, but, however, I personally think that in this story, it works out rather fine, So now, if I really have any problems with this story, honestly, like, not really. However, there's a thing that I feel is a bit maybe overdone in creepypasta stories, like the whole thing questioning about, why would a kid show portray death? Why would a kid show portray heaven and hell? Which a lot of other kid shows have done stuff like that before. It's, like, not really anything new, especially, like, older kid shows, But other than that, there's not really much of a problem with this story, and, I mean, it's not really a problem, it's more just a little thing I like to point out, but overall, honestly, yeah. So anyways, I don't really want to stretch this review out that long, so anyways, I'm just going to give it my rating. My rating on the story would have to be, I'd say, a 9 out of 10. It was a very good creepypasta, a pretty classical one, but I feel like it could have been a tad bit better, but, it still didn't take away from that. It's honestly a pretty great story. So anyways, that's all I really have for today's video. If you liked it, like, subscribe, turn on notifications to the next video, comment squid if you made it as well, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!